Anyway, he goes on to explain how the Jesuits were really into theater and entertainment because they wanted the Protestants to get away from their Bible. In order to get away from their Bible reading and studying the Scriptures all the time, they invented theater, and they brought in Shakespeare and other diversionaries to keep us from studying the Bible in school. And so now they realize that the people love entertainment, and so the Jesuits have always been into entertainment. And so basically, they have used entertainment to get us away from our Bible studies in school, and now we study Shakespeare instead. And he also goes on to explain how before the United States Constitution was formed, the colonies, under their Constitution, if you were a Catholic, you could not vote or hold office, which is really important. And so that was one of the reasons the Jesuits have worked to help bring in the Constitution is a secret back door, but it's all into this book right here, The Rulers of Evil. The Catholic Church and the Jesuits have been out here for 300 years before Brigham Young and the Mormons came out here to Utah. And as you see here, they found gold with the Babylonian iron sun cross of Bel on them. And also, if you study the Uenas and the mines around here, you find out that the Jesuits have used the Indians and the Mexicans as slaves to ore their gold out of America. And when the King of Spain, Carlos, the King of Spain, found out that the Jesuits were still in the gold, then he had those Jesuits killed down in Mexico, the ones he could catch, and the rest of them fled out with their ships to Spain loaded with gold. And so for 300 years you can see the history of that period of time that the Jesuits were in this area long before Brigham Young and the Mormons came out. On page 64 of this book, when King Carlos rounded up the Jesuits to get rid of them, they shut down, they forced closings of 133 missions, 24 colleges, 11 seminaries, plus large number of Indian schools. The Jesuits have always been into education, and you can see that they had a stronghold of education out here way back in the 1500s and 1600s on forward about educating the populace. And if you educate the population, you can control the way they think. Now we're going to fast forward it up till today, January 2007. The U.S. Catholic School Enrollment Update. Look, there is 8,000 Catholic schools in America, 6,785 elementary, 1,215 secondary schools, and there's 47 new schools that have opened. What other religious group? It's not the Jews. It's not any other group of entities that has opened this many schools, and yet it's amazing that if you study the history of Catholics through the Middle Ages all the way up through till today, you'll see that the Catholics have always been in charge of your school systems. And here's a news article, March 26, 2007, the ADL Vatican Jewish Relations. And here you see the director of the ADL receiving the highest award of, it's called the Papal Knighthood, the Papal Knight of the Order of St. Gregory. It's the highest church honor that the director of the ADL has received. Most people believe the Jews are behind everything, but here shows that the Catholic Church has given the director of the ADL the highest award that any person could get, called the Papal Knighthood. And remember, knighthood represents ancient Rome, the membership of ancient Rome, Babylon. This is Nancy Pelosi, the new House Speaker of Congress, and here she is standing with a top Jesuit priest. And so more and more, if you pay attention, you can see these Jesuit priests standing with the members of Congress. Mitt Romney is listing potential running mates, and he chooses Catholic Jeb Bush. And this is what he said about Catholic Jeb Bush. "I love him. If his name weren't Bush, he'd be running for president. I am convinced," says Romney. More proof that the Roman Catholic Church is Babylon. The Roman Catholic Cardinal falls blessing Easter baskets. The AP article, April 8, 2007. He slipped and fell on the marble floor of a church while blessing Easter baskets. Remember Istor, the Queen of Babylon? And here we have the Roman Catholic Church blessing Istor, which is the Queen of Babylon. There's another connection right there. This is dated March 24, 2007, marked the 50th anniversary of signing of the Treaty of Rome, a major step towards the creation of today's European Union. And look who's given the address. The Pontiff, Pope, told the bishops in Rome for the ceremonies. Then they're here celebrating the Roman Empire. It's the same connections that's happened all the way up through the ages, where the Pontiff and the kings of Europe and now the kings of the world are all joining hands in this great new Babylonian New World Order. This article is out of the UK, dated January 21st, 2007. Saddam's lieutenant pleads to Pope for mercy. Aziz, that's him right here, the former deputy prime minister of Iraq, has shown himself on the mercy of the Pope in an attempt to secure his release from the U.S. custody. And here you see that what's very interesting is he's a 70-year-old Catholic. Isn't this very interesting? And as you read on in the article, look at this. Aziz is a Chaldean Catholic from a Babylonian branch of the church, which maintained full ties with Rome. Isn't that interesting that he's a Chaldean Catholic, and we know that the crypto Jew is another branch of full ties with Rome, so we see these different races of people that call themselves by different names that are in full ties with Rome. So everything is one big Babylonian New World Order system. This is dated September 24, 2006. The headline is, Europe blasted for not defending the Pope. The President of the European Commission has expressed disappointment that European leaders have failed to defend the Pope Benedict over his recent remarks about Islam. And he goes on, we must defend our values. See, it's interesting how the kings of Europe are defending the Pope like they've done in the past, and you see it now. It's in the future or today's time frame. Here's an Associated Press article, November 5th, 2006. The first Catholic cathedral in the U.S. reopens. It goes on, Baltimore, the first Roman Catholic cathedral in the United States, reopened to the public Saturday at $34 million restoration. The St. Peter's is to the Universal Church, the Baltimore Basilica, say the Universal Church, a worldwide symbol of religious freedom. And it goes on to say here that the 200-year-old cathedral came to symbolize the acceptance of Catholicism in the fledgling United States. So here they're talking about the acceptance that the church has received, but at a period of time it was not received. So now it's a universal church of all religions called Babylon. You see books like this all the time, Historic America, the Southwest. And on the front cover you can't help but the Catholic missions. And if you look at the Western shows, they're all over the place. And people got to understand that these Jesuits are like insects. The Catholic Church is everywhere to open up schools, to indoctrinate the Indians, to indoctrinate the Mexicans. That's why they call it Latin America, folks, because that's where it came from, is Latin. And Latin, the only language that is officially Latin, if you look it up in encyclopedia, is the Vatican. It's the only place that has Latin as the official language of their state. Anyway, it's all interesting when you connect the dots. Here's another old photograph right here of the Jesuits